Okay, so today we're going to break down a really interesting viral video from the Josiah Rises YouTube channel. It's an incredible piece of political storytelling, and we're going to pull it apart, piece by piece, to see exactly how it builds this powerful narrative. Who are the heroes, who are the villains, and what's the ultimate goal? Right off the bat, the story sets up these huge life-or-death stakes. This isn't just some political disagreement, right? The video frames it as a flat-out warning of national collapse. It's a move designed to grab your attention immediately and make you feel like this is a fight for the very soul of America. So, in a battle this big, every story needs a hero, or, in this case, a couple of them. The narrative really gets going by framing the reunion of two major figures as this epic alliance, a renewed partnership ready to face down the threat. The video really wants you to see the meeting between Elon Musk and Donald Trump as this deliberate, powerful moment. And listen to the language they use. The boys are back together. That's not just a casual phrase. It's meant to make you think of this easy friendship in a shared, world-changing mission. And the video really hammers home that this isn't just some old news. Nope, this is a recent, super important development. It points to a specific meeting at Mar-a-Lago as the exact moment this alliance was reborn. That phrase, working together once again, is so key. It suggests they're getting back to something that was already powerful and successful. And this is where the story adds a really important layer of real-world action. I mean, an alliance is one thing, but money? That's tangible. The video claims Musk has made this huge financial commitment, that he's going all in. This shifts the narrative from a symbolic friendship to a concrete, well-funded campaign. This really gets to the heart of what the video's arguing. This alliance isn't just a simple partnership, it's framed as a weapon. The video calls Musk and Trump together an impossibly unstoppable force. And it's one that their opponents are supposedly absolutely terrified of. Of course, every great story needs a villain, right? So let's take a look at how the video actually builds the opposition, the antagonists that this unstoppable force was supposedly created to fight. So the video paints this picture of the opposition. We're talking Hollywood, Democrat officials, the whole group, as being in a total state of panic. Just look at the imagery. It's all hysteria and chaos. This isn't a picture of a smart, strategic opponent. It's a caricature of an enemy that's emotional, scared, and completely losing control. And to make the opposition's reaction seem, well, kind of crazy, the video uses this very specific phrase, Elon Derangement Syndrome. That's such a powerful rhetorical trick. It reframes any criticism of Musk not as a valid political point, but as some kind of irrational, obsessive breakdown. It basically dismisses their entire point of view without even engaging with it. So what's the thing that supposedly lit the fuse? According to the video, what was it that made Musk jump into this fight? Well, the whole story really hangs on one massive accusation: fraud. Now, in this story, fraud isn't just some general, vague idea. It's defined as a huge, systemic corruption problem that's happening specifically in Democrat-run states. And who's the hero exposing it all? Well, Elon Musk is positioned as the guy who's finally taking it on. And the narrative doesn't just stop at vague accusations. It gets specific. It points fingers at Minnesota and California, calling them out as the epicenters of all this supposed fraud. That kind of detail makes the whole thing feel a lot more concrete to the viewer. And this is where things get really personal, really fast. The video starts amplifying calls to action that aren't just political, they're criminal. By highlighting a quote that calls the governor a traitor and says he should be in prison, the narrative really cranks up the emotional heat. Suddenly, the stakes are about justice and even treason. And you see this pattern again and again. The video pulls up another quote from Musk, calling for an arrest. This repetition is a really effective tactic. It reinforces this image of Musk as this determined crusader for justice, going after corrupt officials one by one. And like any good story, this one builds up to a major climax. After Musk supposedly exposes all this stuff, the narrative introduces a direct threat against his life. This move just dramatically raises the personal stakes. Now it's not just about politics, it's about his very own safety. This right here, this is the turning point. The source presents this quote as Musk's direct response to that threat. The conflict is no longer just a political fight or a crusade against fraud. No, it has now been explicitly reframed as an all-out war. A story built this carefully isn't just for kicks. It always has a goal. It's trying to get you to do something. So let's look at the final act, the call to action, where the video tells its audience exactly what it wants from them. So in the final act of this story, Musk gets this big upgrade.
He's not just an ally anymore, or even a crusader. The video elevates him to be the ultimate solution. He becomes a lethal weapon who is there to take a sledgehammer to the opposition.
And what about the audience? Well, they get a very clear role to play in all this. The video gives these super explicit instructions, connecting simple things you do on social media, like liking and sharing, directly to this huge patriotic mission of winning back the country. It's a clever way to turn you from a passive viewer into an active participant.
This final quote pretty much wraps up the entire strategy. It just strips away all the gray areas, right? It frames the whole political struggle in the simplest possible terms, good versus evil. And it totally empowers the viewer, telling them that just by liking and sharing, they're joining this noble fight to save America from being destroyed. And there you have it. That's how this kind of narrative gets built, with carefully chosen heroes, villains, incredibly high stakes, and a very clear call to action. It really leaves us with a big, critical question to think about. When our political disagreements are framed not as debates we need to have, but as wars that have to be won, what does that do to the way we all talk to each other?